Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Woo. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Woo. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
In the ring we stand tall, words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave, every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night, join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Diving deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light, in the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Spartan Arena here on the Sparta HQ Network. I'm Mr. Bennett. I will be your guest host for this evening. We're going to have a special show tonight. Unfortunately, initially we were going to be talking about dating in this new era, and we're going to have some conversation about that. But unfortunately, we're going to have a very difficult show tonight, but I think certainly a type of show that certainly is going to spark and resonate with a lot of people who may be dealing with this idea of loss. Our brother and founder of this network, Peter, very suddenly and unfortunately lost his dog, Alex, yesterday. This all took place within really a 24-hour period tonight. And so again, so we want to pause and certainly recognize and acknowledge our brother who is grieving. I spoke to him last night, and this certainly understandably inconsolable when it came to certainly this challenge. Shout out to King Smith in the chat tonight. Appreciate you being here. But I was talking to Peter earlier, and certainly he didn't want to cancel the show. And I was thinking, rather than just doing another type of show, let's have a show to talk about this. I mean, a lot of us are pet owners. Alex was a beagle, as mine is. I also have a beagle, and I'm sure a lot of us who've grown up with pets, and you may have lost a pet in your life, and some people you're not. Some people aren't pet people. I get that, but for those of us who've always had an affection for pets, especially dogs, certainly the loss of a pet can be devastating to anyone who is dealing with loss like this. So, certainly going to open up the floor tonight for people if you want to join the conversation. Again, in order to join the conversation tonight, just as always, we need to keep it respectful. So certainly, as we read here, no personal attacks, insults, or threats, offensive language, and such. Certainly we respect each other tonight. If we do appreciate if you are going to come up to be on camera, and again, if you are going to come on camera, we don't know smoking, eating, or drinking. I mean, drinking, I guess you can drink, but certainly camera must be on, dress appropriately for the occasion and whatnot. So we want to open this up. And, if you have lost or dealt with the idea of losing a pet, or not so much even losing, your experience with pets, if you've owned us, so we want to look at some of the positives of this as well. How has being a pet owner, how has that changed you in life? What perspective have you garnered from owning them? And certainly we want to get those perspectives also, because that is as tragic as this is. We know that dogs, unfortunately, we live a lot longer. Human beings live a lot longer than dogs. So no one's ever gonna escape losing a pet, because at best 12, 15. I've heard rare cases some smaller dogs maybe live 20 years. That's possible, but likely it's you're really talking about 12, 15 years is a good life for a pet, for a dog. Bigger dogs maybe shorter time periods. So again, we're gonna lose them if we stay healthy. We're gonna lose them. And then also I want to visit. This is Peter's second dog. He had a dog prior. The name is escaping me at the moment. But what's also tragic about this is that Alex is only 5 years old. And again, things really took a turn, like I said earlier, literally in the last 24 to 48 hours while all this went down. Still, doctors weren't sure exactly what happened. They weren't able to ascertain that, or certainly to give an answer that was satisfactory. But I just want to certainly bring up Alex, and if I can just minimize myself a little bit here. So again, that pose right there, again, my dog does that pose all the time. And certainly, beagles, special breed of dog. Sometimes they have a mind of their own. They're chew hounds, they're scent hounds, so their nose seems to follow, a lot of their logic when it comes to um, their behavior. They can be sometimes stubborn to train, but one thing for sure, they love people. They're great with other dogs. I've never seen a beagle ever growl, be aggressive with another dog or any other animal, cats or whatever. They're just, they're used to living in packs, and so they are just, just beautiful, just beautiful animals. Like I said, I initially, when I was looking to get a dog, I was actually looking at a golden retriever. I always thought that a golden retriever that was like my dream dog growing up. And I always thought that that would be that was how I was gonna that's how I was gonna do it. And but just looking at it logistically and whatnot, when we were started looking for dogs and whatnot, there was a beagle rescue place. They were actually operating out of Petco, and so we were going around looking for different dog breeds and whatnot. We definitely wanted something a little on the smaller side, and again, especially with my wife, who's not the biggest dog fan in the world. She didn't grow up with dogs. She really didn't want a dog, but certainly my daughters, they would, certainly put together the impetus for the kid. And I've always wanted a dog, but it was always about timing, especially when the kids were young and whatnot. And we certainly wanted to wait it out. So my wife, she really wasn't looking forward to having a dog at all. But when we decided to get one, she was sort of all in. We looked at different places. We went to, like I said, so at a Petco, they had a beagle rescue, and they had allowed us to, I was actually see these dogs up front, and yes, obviously they're cute and all those sort of things, so yeah, so we got on the list, and it was an eye opener as well, because I didn't know how hard it was to adopt a dog, because I thought that it'd be easy just to get a dog, but certain organizations, they're very strict in terms of who they allow to adopt dogs, because the reason why a lot of these dogs are available for adoption, you can go to any pet shelter, and you'll see that it's horrible. Go to some of these pet shelters and whatnot, a lot of pit bulls, a lot of animals um just, they get them, they're cute, and then they can't deal with them, and they just give them away. And when you go to those places, you'll see that they are, in a bad way. So you go there, and so yeah, so some of these adoption agencies, they're very strict about who they want. They're looking for good parents as well, not just to get rid of the dogs. And so we had to go through several screens. In fact, few applications that we put in, we actually got turned down. They ask questions about, is someone going to be home all the time? Is your yard fenced in? Have you owned no dogs before? I mean, a lot of questions, and they can turn you down with no explanation required. Shout out to my man Eric. Certainly dog. I know he's had dogs and cats. Yes, I remember Mandy, and I don't remember Cleo, because I think when you were in Highland Park, I don't recall you having a cat, at least that I recall. But I do remember Mandy, and certainly where you're at now. Certainly you have a lot of pets in the house where you're at now. So, but shout out to you being here, and then certainly for Alicia, thank you for being here. I'm gonna put the link if you want to join tonight. I just put that in the chat for anybody who wants to join this conversation tonight and share your experiences, whether you've owned a dog or if you've been in the company of dogs. I mean, up until 5.5 years ago, I never had a dog, but I always grew up around dogs. My sister had dogs. My brother had dogs. And so, like I said, it was always something that I wanted. I always desired. I just loved dogs as early as I can remember. But like I said earlier, just the timing was never right. And so, the idea of, the idea that, I could, be a pet owner, certainly it was an eye opener. But, certainly when we adopted our dog, and, he's been a joy. And it's interesting, my wife, who, like I said, didn't want a dog, and she's even said now that when that time comes when dog dies, she doesn't necessarily want another dog. But that being said, she loves him. I mean, like, genuinely, like, that is her son. And I mean, the way she dotes on him, I mean, people get disgusted sometimes at the way she dotes on him, just like one of her kids. So, and I remember what was funny too. One of the things that she had said uh, early on was, "Okay, we're gonna get this dog. There's no way, absolutely no way, that this dog is gonna sleep in our bed. That is out." And within 6 months, he sleeps with us almost every night. It's almost to the point where she will, if he comes into the bedroom, she will literally get out of bed to pick him up to put him in bed between us. And so, it's almost like that song, that old song, "You Made Me Love You." I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. It was kind of like that. She's upset that she loves this dog. Um, Lick in the face? Absolutely not. And now, um, yeah, I mean, when she comes in every night, "Hi, handsome," and she gives her face. So again, it's just amazing how dolls can just change your perspective, um, because they give you so much, and it's almost like it's unfair because sometimes they can, it'll be like they will uh, for so much they give, but again, they have such short lives. So I was kind of rambling a little bit, but getting back to my original point, everyone's gonna have to deal with this pretty much because again, dogs only live a short period of time. So it's almost like a trade-off because one of the things that they teach you is unconditional love. Um, so much in these channels, like I said, the topic of tonight's show was supposed to be about basically dating in this new reality, in this new world, and how difficult dating is in this world, looking for relationships. But and obviously, having a relationship with a dog is nothing like having um, a human to human relationship. But I mean, certainly the love that they give, I mean, a lot of aspects of what they give is what we want. We want to be loved unconditionally. We want to be, dogs have a sense that we've been with them for something like, again, the numbers keep changing. Um, it could be like, I want to say 25,000 years ago. I think it's the latest that men have existed with dogs. And, they know us. It's all, research is actually showing that I think our DNA is kind of like wired to each other. The dog actually, just from a factual standpoint, dogs was our first domestication of an animal in human. Before dogs, human beings were pretty much hunter gatherers. When we developed a relationship with dogs, it literally changed human history in our advancement. In fact, there was a video that I may show a little bit later on that talks about this relationship, how humanity evolved because of dogs. And it's a real eye opener, when it comes to, when it comes to, uh, how we relate to one another, and also just again the advance of civilization. It's really it's really an eye opener in terms of what has that relationship would have garnered, and because we were able to domesticate the dog, it allowed us to domesticate other animals. So the horse, or the sheep, or cows, or what have you. It's all because of the dog. That was our first successful port, and with that, we were able to go and do other things. So again, so the chat, the link is in the chat. If you guys want to again come on up and certainly join the conversation. If you want to share your perspective on what was it like having a dog, having a pet, certainly you're more than welcome to come on up and again to join that conversation, to join this conversation. If not, I'll just keep kind of talking, and I'll just have the chat. In fact, my dog, he's actually making an appearance, so so I'm literally on the sofa, and here he is. Come here. This is the big guy. So this, ladies and gentlemen, this is Doctor Strange. Come here. He's being a little camera shy. Hello. How are you? So Doctor Strange, he's 7 years old. And again, so we again adopted him as a rescue. And specifically, we got him as a rescue from an animal testing lab. That's certainly a detail that the rescue company doesn't necessarily want shared because they don't want blowback from animal testing labs. They want to be able to get these beagles. One of the reasons why beagles are used is because of their temperament. Again, they're very gentle dogs. Um, and they do well in animal testing. I mean, a lot of the drugs that you may be using probably came through some drug and animal testing, and it's a good chance that a beagle was the type of dog that was used in those tests. And so, certainly, they want to have that relationship, but if too much publicity, I know people, are against animal testing, and certainly we're not going to get into that discussion tonight. But the idea that dogs are used, a lot of people protest and, just cause a lot of bad publicity for these drug companies. But we got to admit, in the history of medicine in general on humans and animals, you could be looked at as cruel, certainly over time. And so, but, we are where we are with that. But, but for those who are, like I said, in the chat, if you've had a pet, I don't want to just limit the conversation to dogs, but if you've had a pet in the past, if you want to share your experience, what has owning a dog taught you about life, about love? Certainly the floor is open. Like I said, you can join the conversation and be a part of it. But like I said, I'll just keep speaking. But just to once again, and I saw certainly the love that Peter was getting from everyone, and again, deservedly so. He does so much for us for this channel. And Peter, one thing I'll say about Peter is that he loves hard. Right. I mean, he loves his mom. He loves his friends. And obviously he's loved his dogs. He puts everything. There's no gray area, if you will, with Pete. If he likes you, he loves you. Right. It's almost like loves you almost too much. If he don't like you, then, he may have some words for you that I do not repeat. But that's just who he is. He's just a very passionate man. And like I said, I felt that passion when I spoke to him last night. And, like I said, totally understandable that he wouldn't be here tonight. But again, we're paying tribute to Alex. And again, I'm just going to just randomly just go through these pictures tonight, so you can see them. But again, this happened, like I said, very quickly. Within 48 hours, he was gone. Still a mystery in terms of what caused it. I don't know if that cause was known or at this point, if it even matters at this point. But it's definitely him. And also I want to take, I told her this personally, but I'm going to give her a shout out publicly. You guys know a friend of the channel who's usually on our Tuesday panels, and I can certainly understand if she doesn't want to be here tonight. I totally understand. Mariana Constantine, who's a good friend of Peter, known him for years, and she's been, the definition of what a true friend is. She lives obviously relatively close to Peter. She's always been helpful to his mom, when he's needed her to step in for Alex. And she was pretty tore up last night. So I sent her a note today, just acknowledging, how I'm happy that she was there to be with him, because I'm about an hour away from Peter. And if he needed me, I could have, certainly driven out there. But the fact that she was there to give him some comfort, I really appreciate her and her spirit and the friendship that she provides, and that she could be there for him in that time. So I just want to give her flowers while she's here. And again, I could totally understand if she doesn't want to come up tonight. Like I said, I appreciate I certainly appreciate her emotions also. And and again, I thank Peter for just allowing me to come up tonight. Like I said, we was gonna say let's just do another show, or do Roman. I think said I didn't have the context for the show that he was gonna do tonight. Obviously, I've been married for a long time, so I'm kind of out of the game, so to speak, when it comes to dating. And so, so yeah, yes, Mariana, again, you're awesome. You're an awesome friend, and just see the love and support that you not only just say but you do. And so again, your contributions have certainly been greatly, I'm sure, greatly appreciated. He don't, I don't have to speak for him, but just from what I've been able to see, um, you know, um, there's very few people in the world like that, and I just appreciate you being there for him. Um, but yeah, so like I said, I've been out of the dating game for a while, and so I didn't know what value I could do if I just ran the show talking about dating. Peter, he's also the number one bachelor on this show, so this topic would have certainly been of more interest to him than it would have been to me per se. So I just told him, I said, you know what, why don't we talk about this? So again, the floor is open. The link is in the link is in the chat. Certainly for anybody again who wants to come on and give their thoughts, whether you want to give a shout out to Peter. I know certainly a lot of people have already done so in the chat. If you want to, give a shout out to him, you may do so. Or if you just want to share your own experience about growing up with pets in general. But dogs, like I said, there's a special place that dogs that they have, and I'm gonna attempt now. Again, I hope this doesn't get me flagged, but there was a video I was watching. There's this guy that I watch off and on um, named Joe Scott, and he talks about dogs, and obviously him being a dog owner himself, and he talks about this idea of what dogs can do in our lives, and how they have kind of shaped civilization. I'm trying to find it because I know I was playing it earlier, but I'm trying to find the link for it. It's like a 3-minute video, and so I'm trying to find that while I'm talking. So I'm just going to spin until I target. Unfortunately, I'm logged in at this point, I think, as as Peter. So I may have to log out and log in as me so I can find it. So in fact, I'm going to try that and see if I can bring this up. And if I can, then I will. Okay, I think I can do this. Let me see if I can just find. Let's go home and let's look at the history. Let's go there. And let me see where it is. Okay, I'm going to play some. Actually, it is a longer video, and so this one here, again, Joe Scott. He's kind of like Bill Nye, the science guy, but what he does is he oftentimes. Oh, did I lose connection? Okay, so something went wrong there, but I'm going to see if I can bring this up and play this. Uh, and let me see if I can get this to work. Just bear with me, guys.
Along the way in our evolution from advanced primates to hairless advanced primates, there have been several technologies that have helped speed things along. Our ability to harness fire, our ability to communicate through language, our ability to make weapons out of stone and metal. But perhaps the thing that set us apart from all the other animals most was our ability to use other animals for our benefit. Human beings are only
Okay, am I still muted? Could you guys hear the video? Was the video still muted? If it is, just put just let me know in the chat, and I'll try to fix that. All right, so you did get sound. Okay, so I'm good now. Okay, so here we go.
only so strong, we're only so fast, we can only perceive so much through our senses. So there's only so much that we can achieve. But we eventually realized that if we harness the abilities of other animals, we could achieve so much more. We could be as strong as an ox, we could be as fast as a horse, and we could be as perceptive as a dog. Dogs are a technology, one of our very first technologies. Dogs and humans go way back, long before anything resembling recorded history, which means we have no record of there ever being a time without dogs. It's believed that domestication of dogs began around 30,000 years ago. This is when we first start to see dog bones being buried alongside human bones, or at least in proximity of human bones. So the theory goes that humans were hunter-gatherers, and wolves at the time weren't just seen as a competitor, but a threat. They hunted in packs, they were smart, they hunted the same prey we did, they also hunted during the day like we did. But along the way, some of these wolves realized that picking off the scraps that the humans leave behind is a lot easier way to get food than hunting on their own. And these were probably some of the more docile wolves that didn't want to have to fight the other wolves for food. These docile wolves grew to trust the humans and vice versa. Over time, they began to rely on them. It became sort of a symbiotic relationship. And the pack mentality shared by both species kind of helped them become sort of one integrated family of sorts in a social sense. You know, these wolves would protect the humans from other predators, and the humans would provide food and shelter. And eventually, they learned how to hunt together. And over time, humans learned that if you bred the more docile dogs with other more docile dogs, you would create even more docile dogs. So they started breeding for this and other traits, so that by the time we actually started writing things down, we had specialized, intelligent, loyal breeds of dogs that made our life completely different. It was only after we domesticated dogs that we were able to domesticate other animals. Humans began to realize that instead of chasing after that big beef machine or hunting down and killing that thing that grows our clothes, we could just, put a thing up around them. Of course, putting them inside of a thing made it impossible for them to escape predators, which means that you would have to watch them all the time, which would be especially difficult at night. Dogs made that possible. They not only protected the herds, they also kept them in line and ran runaways back in there. A well-trained team of dogs could do the work of dozens of people, freeing them up to do more important things. Thanks to dogs, we went from hunter-gatherers to farmers and ranchers. Of course, the agricultural revolution led to the rise of cities and trade routes, money, mathematics, and language to keep track of all that stuff. It led to civilization. Now, would we have gotten there without dogs? Maybe. But then maybe not. Once upon a time, we were just a fledgling species trying to eke out our survival just like any other species. I've talked in videos before about how we almost went extinct a couple of times. It was pretty precarious. Without this beneficial partnership, who knows? We actually...
All right, we're going to end it there. Again, I don't want to get struck from playing too much of it. But yeah, I mean, this, as I said earlier, I mean, dogs have been, whether you like dogs or not, dogs had been a part of our existence for a long time. They watch us, they guard us, they sniff out drugs at the airports. They lead the blind. They're involved in therapy. I know King, been in the military. I know a lot of police officers. They bring in dogs after a stressful job or an incident or something like that. Firefighters, fire departments will bring in dogs, and they will really help with therapy dogs. I know when my mom was in the nursing home, we would oftentimes take Doc over to the nursing home, and it's just amazing how the whole mood changed. Now, there are always a couple people, there's one guy who's like, I don't like dogs, but everybody else, he just seemed to. I mean, from the nurses to the patients to everybody, he just just kind of without even saying a word, just wagging his tail. He seemed to he seemed to you know, just make the area. Yeah, they are a godsend. It's really a testament. And again, they're all over the world. Now, again, not everybody looks at or loves dogs the way some cultures do. I mean, in America, I think other cultures like in Asia, when they talk about dogs or whatnot, and how much we spend on dogs, how much we spoil them, we buy coats and clothing for them, even though they don't need it. Um, we do tend to go a little bit overboard. Certainly in America, and I'm sure in UK and other places, we do go a little bit over board with the love and devotion to our dogs. But yeah, they do become part of our family. And it's interesting because I remember one time I was curious about what would happen. Like for example, if somebody tried to hurt one of your family members, that you have a right in most municipalities to defend to the max as far as to defend your family. Um, that doesn't apply to dogs though, or pets, because they're not considered persons in the eyes of the law, at least not in most areas. Now, I know there's been some legislation that's been passed recently. I believe it's been, I may get this wrong, but it might have been in Washington State or something like that, where they're trying to redefine. I think it was because when it came to divorce, that's what it was. So there's a case where, in the case of divorce, who gets the pets? And I think there was a provision in the law that where they were talking about, um, defining dogs as not persons per se, but certainly something above property. That and certainly looking after their safety and well being was one of the aspects of the law. But in most cases, dogs are still considered property. So because it's property, you can't go to the end. So you can't use, for example, lethal force to defend your pet. If somebody wants to come and steal your dog or cat or whatever, you can't use lethal force. That doesn't mean that may not stop people from trying to do so, but certainly the law still doesn't give them that sense of personhood, even though you swear that just them being up on you, you swear you're dealing with a person. Again, they don't talk the way we do or whatever, but just the way they communicate, how they communicate with their eyes, with their emotions, how they charm, as I think was said earlier. Um, so certainly there's a lot of things there that they allow us to to witness and to see and to feel. And so it's kind of, you just can't help yourself sometimes to think that, that this is not just property, but in the eyes of the law, they are. But then again, in so many cases, though, how important have they been to our human development? As Joe was opining in his video, would we have gone from a hunter gatherer to an agrarian to a industrial age without the help of these dogs? And other, obviously, other animals. I mean, horses, for example, was a major mode of transportation for thousands of years, in our history. So, so again, but if it wasn't for the dog, we probably wouldn't have anything else. So yeah. So there's a global context to this, and we may even bring this up in a broader context on an upcoming gray area show. In fact, I was thinking about doing that, just looking at it from a global perspective, how dogs are perceived throughout the course of the world. Like I said, not everybody loves our dogs necessarily like that. Oh, thank you for pointing that out, Marianne. Mariana. Yes, it was PA. I thought it was Washington, but it was actually PA. Yeah. In fact, yeah, you are correct. It was Pennsylvania that said that. But again, but a lot of that is going to come up again during divorce proceedings. I think is really where that comes into play, because just like with children, the decision on who gets the dogs or not, who gets the pets, is oftentimes going to matter. And so again, it's moving forward. And I think also what I understand, it passed an assembly. I don't think it's quite home yet. If I recall from reading that article, that it still needs to go before the Senate or whatever to get approval or something. It's certainly cleared some hurdles. I don't know if it's signed into the governor signed it into law yet. That I don't think it's there yet, but it's getting close to that, to where people can uh, you know consider that when it comes to marital assets and whatnot. But dogs can do things that are amazing. Dogs can sniff disease. They can literally smell disease in someone's body. um, you know, um, they have a level of empathy that they know when you're ailing. My dog, a lot of times, I'll just be working like I am now, and he'll just naturally just come up and just cuddle just next to me. It's like always, kind of there, but they never judge you. They don't remember grudges. They don't hold grudges. So again, it's interesting that people are looking for meaningful human relationships that can be like that, and how hard that is. But dogs kind of give us that. Now, what I'm also seeing, I would say, if there was going to be a negative, um, again, dogs and pets in general, cats and other animals certainly give us a great sense of joy, and show us an aspect of love that we need. Um, but it's not everything, though. I mean, unfortunately, what I'm seeing is people are opting out. So you want to talk about dating, you want to talk about marriage. I'm seeing a lot more people, a lot more couples, um, that have made a decision that they don't want to have children. And rather than having children, they have dogs. I mean, they call them fur babies. It's and I get it. I mean, you kind of get some of the you get an animal, or certainly a being that you can love on. Um, they don't talk back really most of the time. They're cheaper. Raising a kid from 0 to 18 can cost you well over six figures, easy. Dogs are certainly cheaper to maintain. They can be a lot more predictable when it comes to maintenance. You don't have a lot of issues. So you have something that you can love and who loves you back. Um, and some people are opting for that rather than relationships. I think may go a little bit too far. Again, in my opinion, I still think human relationships is we're meant to bond and mate in and be around human beings. It doesn't mean that we don't lack an empathy to love other things other than human beings. But I would hate for it to get to a point where we love the animals more than the human beings. And now some people would say there's a strong case to be made that, yeah, animals are a lot better than human beings because human beings suck. I've heard that argument too. And you can look at human history that is bloody and violent and racist and every other ist that you can name. And, I can understand someone having a misanthropic attitude about humanity. Where humanity is going. You see what's going on in the society now, and that's another thing. I mean, our pets. A lot of times when we're upset with everybody, even our own people in our household, our pets give us an outlet that we can love on them or they can love on us, and I don't have to worry about. Yeah, I might have had a fight with my wife earlier, or my daughter's had a fight or something like that, and you always have that pet that you can listen to you even though they don't understand what you're saying half the time. But they can sense you. It's like there's there, and that's how human beings are too. A lot of times it's like sometimes it's not about what you say. A lot of times it's just about your presence. A lot of times it's just about just being there to allow someone to vent. And a lot of times dogs and other animals like dogs are, they're good for that. They don't get impatient with you, except when it comes to, if they want to walk or if they want something to eat, then they can get very impatient. And I know my dog, I don't know about Alex, but I know my dog has like an unquenchable appetite. If I fed him, he would eat and keep eating. He doesn't turn down any food. He'll go and have his dinner, and then he'll turn around and want to eat my dinner. And then my dinner's gone, he wants to eat my wife's dinner. So it's so constantly, beagles are foodies in that they just have a voracious desire for food. Any human scraps you can give them, they'll take. They'll never turn anything down. And so that's an aspect of them that is different. But yeah, but some people are opting out, and I'm not. I think they can certainly fill the void. But human beings were made for human companionship. And I think certainly one of the things that we talk about, certainly in the Spartan Arena, the Tuesday show, is we talk a lot about relationships, and why is it that human beings, men and women in particular, have a difficult time relating to one another, partnering with one another, marrying one another. Those are constant questions. Uh, Eric, my man, said they have three stomachs. One is always empty. Yeah, it seems that way. They're always looking for something. Um, they're always looking for something. It's like I said, their appetites is just amazing. The the length to which they will go to eat almost anything is crazy to me. But yeah, they so I think there's a balance that I think that needs to be made here. Like I said, I as much as I love, and I do love Doctor Strange. Um, I don't love him more than my kids, and I certainly don't love him more than my wife. If you're gonna give me a choice, it's a no brainer, you know. But I would say that even with my wife as well. If it's between my wife and my kids, I'm picking my wife. And it's interesting because I've told my kids this from a pretty early age. If I had to choose between my wife and you, I'm picking my wife, because my wife, that is my life partner. That is the one I'm gonna grow old with, and God willing, I would love it if we died together. But my kids, my youngest is 22. Um, they're meant to go on with their lives. Start their own families, get married, and start their own families and their own lives. Yeah, actually, yeah, King, yeah, bump those kids. What I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, they're only mine. I'm a guardian. I'm a trustee, a custodian of my kids for a short period of time, but they're supposed to grow up, and not to get overly religious with you guys, but the Bible talks about, for this reason, a man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So my kids, they're supposed to go on with things, but my wife, that is forever until death do us part. And I would put my dog even at a lower tier than with my kids. Like I said, I love him. He's right here. He's just laying here, and he always, regardless of where I am in the house, he will always find me, and just wants to be with me. How difficult that is these days, because some human beings, even if someone you love, they can get on your nerves after a while and be like, look, I want to be around you for a minute, King. If you and Michelle have been there, where it's like, you know what, you guys kind of need a time out for each other for a few hours or whatever, just put a one in the chat, or just let me know, just wink at me if that happens. Sometimes you don't want to be around you, even you're the one you love the most. But the dog, he wants to be around you all the time, and you don't have to necessarily play with him all the time or there. He just wants to. He's just as happy just laying off. His head is halfway off the sofa, and he just likes being there. And so I think that, like I said, dogs do occupy a very special place, personally as well as historically, with human beings. but I still think we're made for human relationships. That you will never find the level of fulfillment that you would have um, without the necessity of a human relationship. And so I would certainly caution someone. Yeah, you used to have this guy Kevin Samuels used to say, for women, if you can't live with a man, buy a dog and die alone. Um, I'm not hoping for any woman, especially a black woman, to have that as an alternative. But certainly, I think there's balance to that. And it's interesting too. Now, King, you says that you haven't at this point, but maybe because we don't cohabitate yet. Interesting. And when is that going to happen, sir? So, putting you on the spot a little bit, but but yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes where you just want to be alone for a minute, or just do your own thing or whatever, and that's fine. Sometimes um when you want that space. But yeah, Kevin Samuels used to say, buy a dog and die alone, because yeah, if you can't learn to live with a man, the only entity that will deal with your nonsense is a dog. Because like I said, dogs don't get tired. Um even though I just lost my train of thought there. June 2026. So you're hearing it here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. So look for the King and me, and Michelle. They're looking to do this thing. June 2026 is the plan, and we all know King. He's the man with the plan. So so we'll be tracking that, and I'm sure they'll be sharing. Make sure you go and check out his show, The King and Me, the King and M. E. Look for those guys. Certainly on YouTube. They're also a part of the. I'm sorry, if you want to put your information in the chat, there. I'm having a brain freeze right now, but I know you're part of um, um, CQ's network. You guys are doing things in that space also. So if you want to drop your details, certainly in the chat, that's perfectly fine here. But yeah, I mean, certainly said it doesn't matter. The world may look at you as ugly or a nasty person or whatever, but dogs. Now, Mariana Constantine, she did say earlier that they say that dogs are a judge of good character. I believe she said yes. I may have to question that to an extent, because I've seen some really terrible people, and the dogs still love them. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to agree with that 100%. In that, but I think certainly maybe if you're of good character, and just what you surround yourself with is certainly something that certainly maybe your dog will learn who not to be around. And so maybe that's what could be going on in that particular space. But yes, WTF Nation Radio. So again, you can certainly find the King and Me show on WTF Nation, but they also have their own YouTube channel as well. And certainly follow their show. Me and Doc, we're usually listening to their show on Monday nights because I'm walking him. Usually by the time I get in from work around 6:37. And so that's usually the first thing I do is I take Doc out for a walk. So I'm literally listening to the show. Sometimes I'm trying to text in because they may make a point or whatever. And I'll try to text in while I'm walking him, trying to keep him out of rolling in someone else's dog poo or something like that. But again, a very engaging show from a very interesting couple. And again, we had the privilege of hosting them last month. They came through, and certainly look forward to hooking up with those guys again. So that was a good time. And yes, King, next time you have to be in the dungeon, and hopefully you'll be healthy enough. I can take you through a few paces once you get into the dungeon gym. But yeah, so again, the link, I'm just going to drop the link one more time. I'm not going to belabor the show tonight. Again, we're reaching the hour mark of the show. I want to certainly give people the opportunity, particular Peter or Mariana, if they want to come up on the show and just give their thoughts which I know again are very raw at this point. Again, deservedly so. Certainly, I want to leave the light on for one of them if they want to make an appearance. I know David. I know um, he wasn't feeling too well earlier, so hopefully he's feeling better tonight. I got Craig from the UK. Hope everything's going well with you and what you're doing. And then obviously Alicia, she had chimed in a little bit earlier as well. But again, anybody who has dealt with um, the loss of a pet and what that was like, um, or your life with a pet, and again, what did that pet teach you about love? Would that pet teach you about patience, long suffering, discipline? One of the things that I know that just as a household, I'll make it a confession now. We're kind of slobs here. Uh, we're not. We're so busy with everything else. Housework and keeping a nice, tidy house is not our first priority. Now, again, obviously, when we host people over, yeah, we'll make sure the place is clean and everything beforehand and whatnot. But on a daily basis, we work a lot of hours and we get home and it's just like whatever. So there's a lot of clutter. And the one thing that we learned, the first lesson we probably learned when we had Doc was if you don't want something to get chewed up, you better pick it up off the floor. So I think one of the things that Doc forces us to be is to clean up our clutter and not leave shoes in the middle of the hallway or whatever. Because especially back when we first got them, if you had a pair of Uggs and they were in the foyer, oh, that's like Christmas came early. He was going to house those Uggs, and I remember my youngest daughter bawling when she found Doc chewing on a pair of her Uggs or whatnot. Now he didn't do a ton of damage, but it was significant, and so we had to all learn that we got to be a bit more disciplined when it comes to leaving things around the house. Keeping a cleaner home is important. Um, certainly, again, patience. Because again, especially being a beagle, they're scent hounds. You take them outside, they go where their nose goes, not where you want to go a lot of times. And so walking a beagle can be a very interesting experience because they want to explore in areas and you just want to take them outside, help them relieve themselves and then go back in the house. It's like, no, let's go on an adventure. And generally that's what me and Doc do. I usually walk them at night. My wife or kids, they'll walk them in the daytime. And we got a couple different routes. We got about 3 different routes that we go. And a lot of that's determined based on what he wants to do. If we go left, I know where we're going. If we go right, I know where we're going. And it's random. It's like, so we go across the street and he'll be like, so I'll be like, all right, where we going? He'll sniff one way, sniff this way. Okay, we're going this way. And again, it's the same route or one of 2 routes that we're going to go when we do that. It's like, it's just constant now that he wants to do that. And, so we go on long walks. I don't just take him out in the back and have him relieve himself or whatnot. He likes to kind of explore. And then when he gets ready to relieve himself, he'll do it, when he wants to do it. There's certain places that I could almost guarantee that we're in this spot. It's greater than a 50-50 chance that he's going to leave, that he's going to relieve himself. But sometimes that's not always the case. And so again, do you have the patience to do that? And sometimes just even getting out the house. I remember when during the pandemic, being at home, one of the things I noticed right away that I wasn't walking as much when it was all locked down. But that didn't mean that you couldn't go outside. It's just going into public accommodations or whatnot. But I just realized how much I wasn't getting a lot of walking. I was getting like 7,000-8,000 steps in a day. And during the lockdown, I was only getting about 1,500 steps a day. And so I made a determination. You know what? I'm taking Doc out for midday walks just to relieve the monotony of constantly being in the house all the time. So just going through the parks, even though the parks were closed, but walking in and around the parks, and just developing these routes that we still maintain today. So even just from keeping me active is a benefit that owning, or having a dog. And that's another question I have for some of you guys. Are you comfortable with the word own? Because, like I said, in the eyes of the law, even with the law that passed in Pennsylvania, dogs are still considered property. Do you even feel right saying that I own my dog? Or would you rather say things like, I know people using like, guardian, pet parent, because you don't say I own my kids, but do you use that same kind of vernacular when it comes to your dogs or your cats? Do you say you own them? Or, do you use more human terms? I adopted them, or they're my kids, or they're my, language like that. Because I'm starting to see that in the culture also, where people are not looking at them just as, you know, just animals to be owned, but again, literally in family members. They're in every aspect of our lives. They're in our beds. They're in our homes. And one thing I knew for sure, that I wasn't going to have a dog with a doghouse. That I know my cousin, he had a hunting dog, and that hunting dog, he built him a nice dog house. It had a heater in it, and he was an outside type of dog. He very rarely allowed him in the house. Doc, he's in the house all the time with us. He's in and everything. Unfortunately, I mean, the if I was going to say there's one thing about owning a dog that I wish I could change, is that if I could avoid the pet hair. That's a constant battle, and beagles shed a lot. And so the pet hair is something, if I could solve that, then that would be beneficial. But I'm glad I left the light on, because again, we have our first guest up tonight. And as I said earlier, Mariana, um,
I
first of all, God bless you. I love the way you love Peter and his
mhm.
family, that you were there for him last night. Just given the circumstances and whatnot. So first and foremost, how are you doing?
Oh,
And
oh my
yes,
God. Yeah,
you want to
it's
was yours.
it's oh, it's like somebody left the air out of the room. Um, that's something I will say, it's not, you know, there's a time and a place, but there's a time you're never gonna forget, the ones you really that's endearing and love.
Hmm.
Um, and and I still remember my old dogs because I had them.
So you grew up with dogs. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk
I
about that.
love, I would say dogs are a godsend. I remember I had a dog. He passed away in I'm trying to remember what year was it. I would say after Thanksgiving. Oh my God. Remember like it's yesterday. It was hard. It was in 2023.
Hmm.
He was like 14 years old. He was a pit bull mix. My sister gave him a name, but everybody laughed. Gave him Chino. His name is Chino.
Hmm.
And Chino in translation in Spanish means Chinese. That why you give him the name? I say okay, fine. Just call him Chino. So,
Hmm.
anyways, I remember when I say dogs are good judge of character. Okay, if a person that you don't like and a person that trying to rip you off. I remember I had a contractor
Right.
and my dog was barking the living daylights out of this guy. And like and he knows I was getting really annoyed. He was asking more money, and then he was started stepping in and started barking at him. And they said, "Oh, maybe your dog does not like me." I said, "I guess so," because
Hmm.
I've been asking too much money from you. I said, "Yeah, you did." So I
Yeah.
mean, I how you cannot forget that.
Yeah.
Um, and there were a couple of things he did was, being very silly dog. I mean, dogs are silly. And times I'm like thinking, what's wrong with you? Why are you eating that? And then I'm like thinking, you survived. I'm like,
Mm.
I was so mad that,
Yeah.
every time when you eat something, it's tempting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, I basically, I was, uh, that, you see, I'm like, the thing is, it's not easy. And everybody had to go through this, when you, especially when it's held in your arms, die in your
Mm.
arms.
Mm.
Um, I just had a talk with my friend earlier today because I was in tears. I can't pull myself together. And sometimes there's a lot of unanswered questions. You wonder why now. I never picture Alex to be, short lived like that. He was a healthy, vibrant, energetic dog.
Mm.
He's always so happy to see anybody walk through that door.
Mm.
Always so, when he see me, he's jump for joy.
Yeah.
First thing. Um, I just to now it's like it's still hard to believe. It's still hard to believe that he's not here.
Yeah.
You know, it's devastating. It's such a big. He was a big part of Peter's life.
Yeah.
He was a big part of I would say he was also a big part of my life. And he's like, like I know how many times he likes to push my hand to pet him, all the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just I'm taking it day by day now. Like I had to cherish the ones I really care and love. And life is very precious and
All right. Do
very
you own a
short.
dog now? Like,
No, I
mm.
used to. I used
Right. Yeah,
to.
I said on your Facebook. Yeah, there's a dog in one of your pictures. I
Yeah, that's the one. That's
Okay.
the one that bark at the contractor. I had him for
Hmm.
14 years.
Hmm.
His name is Chino. We had him
Hmm.
around of May of 2008. He was, like a little small puppy, and then, he grew. And I know that I never forget a couple times. Let's say, and I had another dog prior to him. The
Hmm.
longest dog I had him for 18 years.
Oh wow.
Um, we grew up with him.
Yeah.
He was a German Shepherd Lab mix, and it's
Mm.
very rare to hear a dog that lived that long.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Um, his name was Mickey. I named him after I don't know. I think it was Mickey Mouse. I don't know. I told my
Hmm.
mom, let's name him Mickey, whatever.
Hmm.
So I never forget. Oh, like it's like you're never gonna forget the ones that.
Yeah.
But I grew up with him when we were teenagers, and he died when I was like around 30.
Hmm.
So we grew up with him. We all, were heartbroken. I never forget we had a priest in our house, and when the priest was blessing our, because I'm Orthodox faith,
Hmm.
the priest was, at the time when my mom passed away, he came to, pray with us, and the dog was very quiet and calm, didn't bark, nothing. And even the Mickey let him, he was very nice to the priest, let him pet him. And I'm like, wow, this is a very rare dog. No dog would, you don't even know the dog would be, but he was calm. He knows he's not, he's a man of God, would
Hmm.
come, to help, because we went through a very tough time at that moment. And, he was praying over us because we were grieving very heavy. We
Hmm.
were not, we don't know where we go from there. Like at the
Hmm.
time we trying to figure out. So, but yeah, he was there for 18 years, and I never forget when we argue, like a crazy family that we were.
Hmm.
He pee on the carpet. He make us stop arguing, and then he tell us, there you go, you guys stop."
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I miss him, like, because he got a headache from
Hmm.
all of us arguing. So
Hmm. Yeah.
that and then he's oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I miss I miss my dogs. I mean I how you can't, and I will never forget Alex. I will
Yeah.
never forget Alex.
Yeah.
So
So a
um
question again. I obviously I haven't had that personal loss. Like I said, my sister, my
mhm,
brothers had dogs that I basically kind of grew up with. I know one was a German Shepherd Collie mix. Her name was Bracy, and
yeah.
it was like my dog. I mean, every time I go over there, first thing she would do is just lay on her back and just give me her stomach, like just rub my belly, rub my belly. That's all she wanted from me, was just that. Um, and so it was certainly sad hearing the news when she died. And then they had
Mm,
another dog. They had a Maltese, Missy,
mm-hmm,
that died
mm,
suddenly.
mm,
The old dogs a little bit older, but died suddenly. And so
mm,
again, you're around them, but I never had, like I said, that personal loss. I mean, and here, like I said, my dog's in the bed with us. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? I mean, he's just in everything. If I'm on the couch talking with my wife, he has to join us. Not only does he have to join, he has to get right in the middle of us. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So it's like we're too
Yeah.
close. It's like, hey, let me get my SWAT. Let me wedge between you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that sense of loss. For your dog. How long did you grieve? And then if I was going to ask a follow up question, and again, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I kind of think what I want to do now. My wife has already put it out there that she does not want another dog.
Mm-hmm.
She loves Doc. I mean, like I said earlier in the show, she devotes on him. She cooks for him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't eat kibble. She makes his meals
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. She puts him in the bed with us. I mean, so she's devoted to
Yeah.
him. But she's already said that she doesn't want another dog as much as she loves him. I'm already of the mindset
Yeah.
that if I lost him, I'd want another dog within a month. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is just such the house would be, especially now my daughter's grown and whatnot. It would feel a very empty space
Yeah.
without a dog in the house. So I would do bribe her. I'd take her to Hawaii. I said whatever you want. I'll do anything you want for us to have another dog.
Yeah.
So the follow up question would be then: do you think that you could
Mm-hmm.
bring yourself to have another dog, to adopt another dog, in your life, and maybe the fact that you had Alex, maybe you're close to Peter, maybe you felt you didn't have to. But do you think that you would ever open up your heart to love like that? Because I know I've seen people, and I saw Peter last night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wound,
Mm-hmm.
which Alex filled because again, his first dog. I mean, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he found the space to love again.
Yeah.
But what about you? In your situation, could you ever bring yourself to first of all talk about first
Mm-hmm.
when your dog Chino died,
Mm-hmm.
and what was that like? And then do you think you could bring yourself to open up your heart to another dog or cat or another animal? Do you think this within you to do that?
Yeah. I was thinking about opening my heart. I know it's been a while, I would say.
Mm,
Um, like it was hard, I will say. It's not like the thing is I just have my biggest problem right now is my work schedule.
mhm,
And I don't have somebody that I have a sister, but she has a mental disorder and that's difficult to deal with. And then, of course, once you cross the line, last thing you need is to spaz out. um I want see, this is the thing. I want to, if I'm gonna bring a like a dog or a cat. I'm not a cat person. I don't want no
yeah, I'm
cats.
not a cat
Yeah.
person either. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want them to suffer, but if they could do the job, just catch some, whatever rodents. I'm sorry to say.
Mm,
That's the only thing I care
mm,
about because
mm,
I can't stand it. Because even my sister trying to persuade you, oh, they say my neighbors, there's my neighbor cat have just give like birth to few kittens, and then I have a my nephew's like a cat like an animal whisperer. Like I don't know, it's like a lot of animals like to come to him, and he's 10 years
mhm,
old.
yeah.
And but I don't know, like right now it's a matter of time. I know that I want to have a dog again, but of course it's not going to be, I hate to say it's not the same breed, because it's going to remind me of him. And it's
Mhm,
hard. It's really hard because every dog have its own, own their own personality,
mhm,
their own everything. And I don't want to be you can't duplicate that. They have their
yeah.
own DNA and everything. You can't.
Yeah.
um but yeah, because the thing is, it's I need, and I'm hoping, God willing, hoping one day when I have a set schedule, because I able to be comfortable to able to uh see my dog on a daily basis, because I don't have anybody to, I have siblings live with me,
Mhm.
But once constantly, I would say because he works the third shift, that's not easy because he's a professional truck driver.
Mhm.
And by the time, let's say when I leave, he comes home in the afternoon. And then the other one, she doesn't work. She collect she depend on government assistance.
Mhm.
And like one time she said things and I got really annoyed. And I'm like, she said, you know what? I'm not gonna even argue with you. So that's why I get very frustrated.
Mhm.
I want a dog. To be honest, a dog just to keep me that somebody's looking forward to me and wag their tail
Yeah.
when I come home.
Yeah.
And that's what I miss. Whenever I come home from work, he always waited for me. And even though
Mm.
when I'm stressed out and he look at me, what's wrong? Like, that facial expression.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm gonna come and, I'm gonna come here and snuggle up with you. Like,
Mhm.
dogs don't need to say, just it's on their
That's right.
faces.
Well, it's just like people also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I know when people have died, um, you know, like a lot of times it's like you don't want to hear nothing. Just
Hmm.
knowing that you're there,
Yeah.
or you're just gonna sit with me or whatever. It's like, look, if you want to talk,
Hmm.
you can talk, but I'm not gonna console you or whatever. Like sometimes you don't need to say. Like I said, dogs teach us, I think, so much
Hmm.
about what love is,
Hmm.
and love isn't necessarily always just talking, you know,
Yeah.
or saying
Hmm.
things or whatever. Sometimes I'm just
Yeah.
shut up, just leave me, But
Yeah.
the fact that they're there,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's such a lesson that that we as human beings.
Hmm.
It's interesting how an animal can teach you how to be a better human being.
Yeah.
Like I said, what it means to be patient, or what we want in our human relationships. Like every man and woman wants their spouse to adore them,
Yeah.
right? So you talk about the
Yeah.
dog waiting for you to
Yeah.
get home. You go home, your husband greets you and gives you a hug
Hmm.
or a kiss or
Hmm.
whatever, or massage, something, or your wife, that she's
Hmm.
happy to see you, or she greets you at
Hmm.
the door, or she comes and rubs your back and say,
Yeah.
"How was your day?" I mean, that's we want to be loved. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just and like I said, I think there's as I said earlier, I don't think even the love of a dog isn't a substitute for human love, like
Yeah.
real, human love. There's no substitute for that, and I wouldn't
Hmm.
trade certainly what I have my wife or anything.
Hmm.
But again, but it's a lesson that they teach you about, what it means to really uh look at you in a way that doesn't judge you,
Hmm.
uh that again that they don't have memories like that. They say
Hmm.
you left the toilet seat up or something. So,
Hmm.
I mean, we get as human beings, we get upset with each other over some of the dumbest things at the end of the day that don't
Yeah.
really matter. So why y'all fighting because the toilet seat is up or down,
Yeah.
or that you left something in the sink or
Hmm.
whatever. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
it's like with them, it's you can really love freely and they
Yeah.
love you freely, and it's just something that I'm just hoping more people will, um, if you've had the pleasure of owning a dog and really caring for that, that's something that again we need to treat ourselves better.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and when you hear expressions like, "Oh, you treat me like a dog," uh, hey, don't insult the dog
Yeah.
because dogs treat
Yeah.
you a lot better
Yeah.
than human beings do
Yeah.
sometimes. So we need to learn how to have that sort of empathy. And like I said, I can honestly say that, and I can definitely say my wife probably the biggest because like I said, honestly, she didn't want a dog. I mean, it was just
Hmm.
like I think we kind of ganged up. So my what happened was my oldest daughter, she
Hmm.
went to school. She on campus for a couple years. It was getting pretty expensive.
Hmm.
Like, do you really want to live on campus again? And she said, look, if I
Hmm.
live at home, because campus like 10 minutes away, so she could
Hmm.
easily commute. So she said, look, if I'm home,
Hmm.
can I have a dog?
Hmm.
You know, because her friends had dogs and she likes being around them, and she had a lot of anxiety that she's
Hmm.
battled over the years and whatnot, and dogs really help her with anxiety.
Yeah.
And I was already on board since, like I said, I recognized when the kids were younger. I used to
Mhm.
travel a lot for work and everything, and I knew that again I wouldn't be around as much. But all the kids, they're teenagers now, and
Mhm.
certainly I think that we can they're an age where we can kind of divvy up the responsibilities and whatnot. And so I was on board with it immediately. And then the other two, they were like, yeah, let's all do it. So it's kind of like a four against one kind of deal. And my wife, she
Mhm.
was like, well, she didn't want to be the killjoy. So she was like,
Mhm.
oh, fine, we'll get a dog, right? Like she was kind of,
Yeah.
belligerent about it. But
Yeah.
it wasn't long after that
Yeah.
once she was on board, she was all in. And the
Yeah.
love came later. It's like she used to get upset when I used to say, she would like complain about, oh yeah, he's got his hair all over the place and whatnot. But then I would tease, I'd be
Yeah.
like, but you love him. And she'd be like, that's not the point. So like I said, she loved him when she didn't want to love him.
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
he made her love him. And
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, the way she dotes, I mean, again, don't lick me in the face. She licks
Mhm.
the face. She gives her face. You know,
Yeah.
the bed thing.
Yeah.
It's no. I mean, she's 3 o'clock in the morning. She's getting out of
Mm.
bed because he's kind of whimpering because he wants to get into bed with us. She gets up and puts him in the bed with us and goes back to sleep. I mean, it's just amazing how with her the transformation of that. And I truly believe that when he does go, and he will, and that's the
Yeah.
unfair part. That's the part that God, even though he's blessed us with this animal, uh
Yeah.
they do have a short life relative to ours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the trade-off. Yeah, so like, yeah, I'm gonna give you something very special, but you can't
Mhm.
get so used to it that
Yeah.
you take it for granted. And maybe that's the problem with us, because we expect people to be around all the time. We take them for granted. But again, dogs, you
Yeah.
have them for a season of time. Again, a
Yeah.
good dog, 12 years is 12 and up is that's like someone living to 80, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you get that,
Yeah.
you're winning. You got more than what you was hoping for. and
Yeah.
and so but I believe that she may be like, good, I don't have to love him anymore, but I believe that within a
Mhm.
year, um
Mhm.
I said, me, if it was up to me, I'd probably go like maybe a couple months or whatever, and then I go get another dog. I'm so used to
Yeah.
having him right here. I'm rubbing him now right here.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it'd be like if I can't have that anymore for an extended period of time. Her,
Yeah.
I would hope within a year, when the house is a little empty, when the girls start moving out, and
Mhm.
whatnot, and it's like, it's pretty empty around here. And
Yeah.
let's make that happen now. And again, and for us, understanding too, we do want to do some things, we want to travel. I think a lot
Mhm.
more. I mean, trips.
Mhm.
We delayed a lot of trips and whatnot because of the girls, and paying bills and all this kind
Mhm.
of stuff. Now we're getting to a point now where the goal is to have two good trips a year, cruises, and out of the country
Mhm.
and things like that. So again, always the question of, well,
Mhm.
who's going to take care of the dog. That's always. But it's just like, who's going to take care of the kids. It's you plan.
Mhm.
And now they got these
Mhm.
just like with Uber, they got these sites. We use this one site, Rover,
Mhm.
rover.com, and
Mhm.
it's like Uber. It's like you find somebody in the area, they have references. um
Mhm.
some, they offer different services. Some offer, they
Mhm.
allow the dogs to get on the couch. Some people, they only allow
Mhm.
the dog to stay in their cages. Some, they're allowed in the bed. Some have other
Yeah.
dogs, and you just pick somebody. Like, so the last time we used it, we actually, because the whole family was going away, so we needed someone to really watch the dog. And so
Yeah.
it's like anything else. It's like a babysitter. Like, you go there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see what the house is like, you talk to them,
Mhm.
you meet their dogs, and you bring your dog, and so you let the dog kind of sniff around and say, okay, is this going to be good or whatever. And it was
Yeah.
great. I mean, she sent us pictures every day of
Mhm.
him, he's chilling with her dog on the couch or whatnot. Is It was just so it just gave us a lot
Mhm.
of peace of mind. So again, even with
Mhm.
dog care,
Mhm.
Because some people used to like put their dog in a kennel for the weekend or something like that. But I like Rover because it was much more home friendly. Like a kennel can be
Okay.
kind of, with these other dogs, and you don't know what's going on. But someone's
Yeah.
homes and who's willing to open up to having a dog in their home. I think that's good. I think that's a healthy.
Yeah.
That's to me. That was a good compromise. Um,
Yeah.
from having the other. So, but you do hope to have a dog, another dog one day. But you said
Yeah.
you
One
don't.
day.
Yeah, but you said you don't want the same breed.
I don't think I want to sing, but I mean, it depends. I mean, sometimes I will say maybe, maybe not. Or sometimes I don't know. Sometimes situations could be a little funny. You know how when you don't want something, God decided to do the opposite.
Yeah,
And I hate to say it, and it usually happens. And I know certain things like when you wish, oh, this is you can't sometimes you can't predict that. But one day I want to have it,
mm,
and it will, hopefully that will happen because I do miss having a dog.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's interesting
yeah,
that you
and
said that you
because
want a different breed. I want the same breed.
you want the same breed.
I am so into beagles. Like because when I said earlier in the show, my dream dog, my dream scenario, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted two golden retrievers. Like, that was my
Yeah.
dream. Like, that was in fact, it was
Yeah.
even in my, that marital document that I wrote, I even put
Yeah.
in there, it's like, "Look, I'm a dog lover," right?
Yeah.
So, in my dream, I said, "I want 2 golden retrievers." That's like my so if you're not a if you couldn't get past that or whatever, we're not gonna go anywhere because I knew
Mm-hmm.
some point at some time I was gonna and I wanted golden retrievers. But it's interesting, when we got Doc, he's perfect. He's the perfect size.
Mm-hmm.
He's about 30 pounds. You can pick him up if you need to, but he's not so, frail that you can crush him, you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's why I never wanted, like, the toy dogs, the Malteses and
Yeah.
the little ones or whatever. I never wanted
Yeah.
one of those. I may sit on it. So
Yeah.
he's a good size, his
Mm-hmm.
temperament,
Mm-hmm.
he's cute. I mean, so it's weird. So when we saw there's a dog park near here, and you
Mm-hmm.
would go there and people had 3 golden retrievers.
Yeah.
And, like, I look at the golden retriever now, and it's like, man, it's like you know how, like, sometimes you want something, or then you're in your mind, you have a fantasy of what you want,
Yeah.
and then when you get that thing, you don't like it as much. It's like, "No, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't wasn't what I expected." And it
Yeah.
was the same thing with the Goldens. It was like beautiful dogs. I was saying to
Mm-hmm.
myself, "That is a lot of hair." I think my dog sheds a lot. A
Yeah.
golden retriever,
Mm-hmm.
that's gotta that hair situation's gotta be, and we're like, no, so my wife and I, we're like thinking, so we're so happy that we got a beagle,
Yeah.
or golden retriever, and
Yeah.
and and so I think I'm beagled in. I think that's the only dog that I pretty much want to own,
Okay.
or parent at this point is a beagle. I can't see another dog. Now, someone happenstance to, the opportunity said, hey, the thing that I fear, and this is where I do appreciate my wife and her
Mm-hmm.
resistance to having dog. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the type of guy, if someone showed up at my doorstep with a puppy,
Mm-hmm.
it would be very difficult for me to turn down. I'm talking about hard luck. Look, we can't keep the puppy. We gotta
Mm-hmm.
go. I don't want him to go to a shelter. I don't want him to
Mm-hmm.
go unless it's a pit bull or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the dog.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
need my wife. I need my wife to pull me back and say, "No, we're not doing." But Doc always wanted to pay me. No, we're not doing that. And
Yeah.
even the rescue place, they still have a site, so they post dogs all the time. And
Yeah.
so it's like, hey, what if Doc had a playmate and whatnot? And again, so I'm at the end of my luck with, persuading my wife to get another dog.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, but yeah, beagle. I'm all beagle. I'm team
Okay.
beagle, and I don't think I'd
Okay.
get another. I don't think I'd get another breed. But certainly,
Mm-hmm.
but first, I want to thank you for coming up tonight. I don't want to drag
Thank
on
you.
the show. We're at about
That's
an hour and a
okay.
half,
Yeah,
and
just I'm here just to support and send my love to Sparta and to
yeah,
this channel. I mean, because it's it's not easy, and I know that um it's this point. Like, of course, it's there's a time. I'm gonna grieve, and I'm not gonna. He's not gonna be forgotten. As I say, he is so loved. So like it's sad, but now it's more like it's a lot of stuff that you can't beat yourself up. You can't say that, oh, it's like, it just happened, and it's especially this is the worst before the holidays. um
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great point too. Yeah. It's like, we could do a whole nother show on that because I know a lot of people who
yeah,
lost loved ones over the holidays and they hate the holidays because at Thanksgiving,
yeah,
Christmas, no
yeah,
thank you. That's a show in and of itself. For those
yeah,
who lost loved ones during the holiday, that's a tough one,
yeah. And I
for
mean, I'm
sure.
looking at his face, I'm like, oh my God, he's so innocent. I'm like, and it's just I can't, like, it's hard. It really is hard right now. I don't know. I can't predict what kind of Christmas I'm gonna have this
Mhm,
year,
mhm.
because this is gonna be a tough one
It's gonna be,
right now.
yeah,
And I will
oh yeah,
say, um, this is difficult. I mean, I can never imagine ever
yeah,
this happened so sudden, so like so tragic.
yeah.
Um, and because I can't, like, it's devastating. Like, why? Like, and I say, God has another plan, I guess. There's
Mhm.
always like something. I think, God decides to take him with him. And I don't understand why, but God probably has another plan. That's what I think.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you know,
like I said earlier, and in fact, I want to kind of end the show
mm-hmm,
um, with this. Video came out years ago
mm-hmm,
um on dogs, and in particular,
mm-hmm,
um, God's purpose for it. 'Cause I believe. I mean, especially
mm-hmm,
just based on scientifically what Joe Scott, what he was talking about in his video about how they
mm-hmm,
helped us leave hunter gatherer to
mm-hmm.
develop in societies. I believe that God created dogs.
Yeah,
That relationship and whatnot, that was something that needed to happen in order for humanity to advance. And there's a video that I found some inspiration with that I always every once in a while I'll play it. And
mm-hmm.
so I want to play this, and we can certainly wind down the show with this.
Okay.
But this is something that has always moved me, and like I said, very always inspirational, and
Mm-hmm,
definitely it just shows me I think God had a purpose for dogs and a reason for dogs, and so I'm going to share this
mm-hmm,
now,
mm-hmm.
and we can close out the
Sure,
show
sure. Okay, okay.
with this.
Sure, sure.
Let me know if you can
Oh,
hear.
God made it. Okay, okay. Yep, yep.
And on the 9th day, God looked down on his wide-eyed children and said they need a companion. So God made a dog. God said, I need somebody willing to wake up, give kisses, pee on a tree, sleep all day, wake up again, give more kisses, then stay up until midnight basking in the glow of a television set. So God made a dog. God said, I need somebody willing to sit, then stay, then roll over. Then with no ego or complaint, dress in hats they don't need and costumes they don't understand. I need somebody who can break wind without a first care or second thought, who can chase tails, sniff crotches, fetch sticks, and lift spirits with a lick. Somebody who, no matter what you didn't do or couldn't take or didn't win or couldn't make, will love you without judgment just the same. So God made a dog. God said, I need somebody strong enough to pull sleds and find bombs, yet gentle enough to love babies and lead the blind. Somebody who will spend all day on a couch with a resting head and supportive eyes to lift the spirits of a broken heart. So God made a dog. It had to be somebody who'd remain patient and loyal, even through loneliness. Somebody to care, cuddle, snuggle, and nuzzle, and cheer and charm, and snore and slobber, and eat the trash and chase the squirrels. Somebody who would bring a family together with the selflessness of an open heart. Somebody who would bark, and then pant, and then reply with rapid wag of tail when their best friend says, "Let's go for a ride in the car." So God made a dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, like I said, that one
oh,
always got me because like I said,
yeah,
they've been so useful to mankind, and
yeah,
you know, and I think that I think that's divinely created, and yeah, I mean, so
yeah,
I just want to wind down the show.
yeah.
Pete, our thoughts are with you. And I know Mariana's
Yeah.
always, giving her thoughts, but as I told you on the phone, Shirley, I'm praying for you, your mom. I mean, that's the thing that got me. He called me,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't even inform his mom yet. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, it's I felt really touched by that. Um, and whatever you need from us,
Mm-hmm.
to help you run the shows and whatnot, and whatever you
Mm-hmm.
need, take the time that you need to grieve. And yeah, Sparta HQ Network will continue to go on. Certainly, we appreciate folks for being here tonight. Make sure as you leave the show, make sure you hit the like button. Also, consider becoming a subscriber to the Sparta HQ Network, and just stay tuned for upcoming shows. Certainly through the week. I know on this coming Wednesday night, I believe there's a show, Straight Talk, Straight Understanding. That's going to be coming up. We got a show on Friday night with the fellas, talking Anime Unlocked. Show on Saturday. That's going to be coming up soon, and then hopefully we'll have a gray area. But again, I'll check with Pete if he's going to be up to doing one at that particular
Mm-hmm.
time. But we'll try to hold down the fort until you can make it back. To brother David, again, feel better. I know he wasn't feeling too good tonight, so hopefully things are going right with him. But Mariana,
Mm-hmm.
any other words, last words as we close the show?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna say, cherish the ones that love. Um, just, just hold them like, I don't know. It's hard right now. Because you have to make every moment as your last. I mean, you had to like live the present, yes, but um, as I say, you cannot forget the ones that leave behind ever, because you're gonna still remember them. Because I still remember my other dogs, and I remember Alex because Alex put an impact on my life. I will say, um, just don't not. And of course, if you don't want a dog, don't get one. That's all I could say for the ones who are not dog lovers or whatever. Whatever the case is. Everybody has a different preference. If you're into pets, you're into pets. If not, so be it. I mean, it's not everybody could love an animal. You have to
Yeah,
be an animal lover, and that's that. And they are basically God's best creation. And you know, right now it's dawned on me. I still can't get over it. And I know this grief is gonna be quite some time. Everybody grieves differently,
yeah,
and I just had to take it slow. And right now, if somebody trying to, God forbid, provoke me or say anything, I don't want to act like John
don't
Wick
mess,
right now. I'm sorry.
don't mess with right now.
Sorry.
Don't
I'm
mess with
sorry.
Mariana right now. I heard that. I
So,
heard that. All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for being with us. Certainly, this is the Spartan Arena. Again, very touching Spartan Arena,
yeah.
and for Pete and his mother, again, all the God's blessings.
Yeah.
May God wrap his arms around you during this time. And for Alex, thank you for loving Peter and loving Mariana and everybody who you touched. You will certainly not be missed. And look, I don't, you know, there's certain questions above my pay grade. People ask the question, do dogs go to heaven or whatnot? I hope so,
Mhm.
but that's above my pay grade. But
Mhm.
certainly to be reunited, certainly with those who you loved, I think if heaven could be like that, I think more people want to go there. So with that, but thank
Yeah.
you guys tonight for myself, Sparta, aka the president, for the witch doctor, Mariana. House tonight. This is the Spartan Arena on Sparta HQ Network. For all of us, take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night.